One of the reasons that I've made these videos is to empower people, especially women. Religious freedom is something we always thought we'd have in the United States, but the new administration, Trump 2.0, has threatened that. Well, I'm here to tell you that I've been through it, and it worked. Standing up for my rights, our rights to religious freedom, worked. Was it easy? No, it was not easy at all. Every intimidation you can imagine, including multiple death threats, people called me to, it just went on and on. It's just what happened. I'm going to tell you the story of the Church of Iron Oak versus the city of Palm Bay. Back in 1991, I had made the decision with my ex-husband that being a deep ecologist and believing that all of nature is attached to all of us and that human life is not superior to any other life on the planet. Just isn't. We are all working together. And they got teased all my life about hugging a tree. Gosh, all my adult life, it's always about, you're hugging trees. Yes, well, trees give us oxygen. That's a fact. That's just the way it is. Trees give us oxygen, but there's a lot more going on. The humble bumblebee and the fly, and I don't know how many other things, pollinate our food so we can eat. You know, we really need to step back and look at what's going on in the world and recognize that we do all flow together. And for myself, that has been my faith. I believe that this planet is my God, and that's where it's at. And standing up for that made me I was called everything under the sun, not just a witch, but every black word people could think of. They called me that, and threats just came back and forth from every direction. Now, my ex-husband was in a very honorable position as an electrical engineer. It's his second job in his whole entire life. He'd worked at it for decades for a large corporation called Harris Corporation. So there wasn't really anything to complain about. I mean, we lived on an acre of land. It was a modest three bedroom, 2-bath home. We went out in the backyard in a circle and sang songs of protecting the earth, doing all we could to be a part of the earth and to protect the earth. And the people next door, the woman on one side had been raised in the satanic family, and she knew what we were doing, and she was all in favor of it. And the man on the other side even let his children come over and be a part of what was going on because he was a police officer and he knew there was nothing wrong. But the man down the street, down in the corner at the dead-end street across the street, was head of the Mormon church, and he was always having things outside in his yard. But the lady across the street was in the Catholic church, and she was a good friend of the planning and zoning man. And so she stuck her nose into the whole business, and it was just fine that the man across the street from her was doing things for the Mormon church, but it wasn't fine that we down the street from her were doing the same sort of thing for a Wiccan church. And she pulled it for years. I mean, we fought it. In fact, they took it so far as to take us to court where it was published like you cannot even begin to imagine on Halloween. Yes, October 31st. That was the day we had to go to court. One of the times. There were many times. There were times when cameras would come down the street and go high in the air to try to see us in the back of the house, over the top of the house. I mean, it was insane. It was absolutely insane because the back of our backyards backed up against commercial property, so there was no way they could get to see us from there. I mean, it was really rural area. It was called rural Palm Bay, Florida. I'm going to put a bunch of listings down below, including the final judgment and an article from the New York Times and an outstanding article by the historic department of Brevard County. This historic department did the article more recently, and it's superb. It's absolutely superb. It told the truth. So many others were just false. I mean, there was so much stuff. I can't tell you how many times I looked at the front page of the paper and it was about me. I can't tell you what it was like to bend over one Sunday and see a whole article about me on the front page of the Parade magazine. I mean, come on. What in the world was going on here? All we were doing is asking that the environment be protected for all of us. I mean, it was crazy. But I think it's time to bring it out and say it on YouTube so that it'll be there forever, so that people will understand what in the world was going on and why on earth anyone would overreact to such an incredible level. I mean, there were months when I would have 75 phone calls a day. I mean, it was insane. This was, of course, before there was the internet like there is now, before there was social media like there is now. I mean, I had just finished up my master's degree in the late 1980s, minoring in computer science, majoring in business systems management. So I was familiar with the computer, but this was before social media was a big deal. There just wasn't any other way to really hound me except to come down the street or give me a phone call. And it was especially, I think the Baptists were the most upset, and I have no idea why. I mean, I used to go to the Baptist church as a young person in the summertime for summer camp. I was raised Lutheran. I was baptized and confirmed Lutheran, went through the Lutheran church my entire life, sang in the choir, went to Brownie Scouts, Girl Scouts, and Senior Scouts, all in the Lutheran church, went to Lutheran camp all my life, my childhood. And I just don't know what on earth people thought. But sells newspapers. We don't have as many newspapers being sold now, so maybe it's about time the truth came out. Maybe it's about time for people to look around and see what was going on. I mean, I had pastoral counseling. I had studied pastoral counseling. I was ordained in several different churches, the Covenant of the Goddess, the Unitarian Universalist Church I was active in from the time I was 16 years of age. I was ordained by Universal Brotherhood. I mean, and the Aquarian Tabernacle Church, I was one of their head priestesses, high priestesses. You know, it was just all so insane, really, really an insane time in my life. And it's no wonder that it tore my marriage apart, it tore my life apart, it tore my personal life apart, my career life apart. It was ridiculous what went on. But the truth is here. You can read all the attachments that I've put down, and you can also go online and read more attachments. So you can get more information, and you'll be absolutely certain to have the truth. All they tried to find out, all they tried to say about us, I mean, murdering children, are you kidding? I was a teacher. I went to school to become a teacher of disabled children, which I did for years and finished my doctorate in that field. Come on. But, you know, what is wrong with people? Why do people, well, again, we do have the White House, don't we? They think about things in their own imagination instead of looking what's really going on in this world. And that was my complaint. We've had enough. We've had enough of the nonsense. It's time to take care of each other and take care of our planet including its plants and animals and insects and everything else we need to be in cooperation to have a good life, a pure life, a satisfying life, a life of love and understanding and kindness and depth, and really caring about another living being, critter, whatever it is. We need to all be respected and loved. That's why I went through all of that. That's why I worked in the prison systems for so long. I worked with first-time offenders, 16 to 19 years old. I worked with women. I worked with men. I just don't understand how people can be so incredibly narrow-minded. I happen to also be colorblind. I don't see color in people. I was raised military. Everything was very regimented. Every Saturday morning I got up and polished shoes. You know, everything was click, 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 click in my family. My dad was a sergeant, and there you go. You just don't know what you're going through. So for this to occur, for I to have had to go through such a battle is absolutely insane. And the fact that people had to make such a big deal of it makes no sense at all. I was even on the television in Europe. I mean, come on. What in the world is wrong with people? Why can't people just love each other and be kind and considerate? Why do people have to be backstabbing and cruel, absolutely cruel? I know the last few years I have pained like crazy for the children that were little young kids put in camps and cages along the Mexico border. How can people be so unfaithful to each other, unfaithful to their own religious belief systems? I've married people from every different type of religion. To me, it makes no difference whatsoever. It's about loving each other. If anybody would like to talk to me or ask me a question, leave it below. If you'd like to talk to me on Zoom, I'm right here in Ecuador, South America, ready to talk to you at any time. Just let me know. And while you're down there, there's artwork, paintings and fiber art done by two women, both over 75 years of age, who would love to have you look at reminders about taking care of our planet, which is all I was ever singing about. Thank you.